welcome to Mr. Otter Studio. Last week we talked a little bit about the proportions of the figure, and we talked about drawing the face and drawing the profile. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about the whole figure. So we're going to be doing some stick figure drawings, and these are not like the normal stick figure that you're used to. These are not like, you know, like this. And that's a great stick figure, but that's not the kind we're going to be drawing today. The kind we're going to be drawing is more of a dynamic stick figure, and you can kind of think of this as like a skeleton stick figure. So it has form, it has shape, and this is helpful so that when we're doing our gesture drawings and we're drawing in the figure, we're not missing those critical things that are underneath the skin, like the bones that need to be there, or else it just doesn't look very convincing for a realistic drawing. So let's talk about the stick figure, and we're actually going to review some of the proportions that we went over last week. So let's just start with the head and draw it up towards the top of your paper. So we're going to draw a few different types of the stick figure, and then we're going to look at a picture of a person and then draw a stick figure of that person, if that makes sense. And then in tomorrow's lesson, we'll be doing some gesture drawings of the same images. So let's get started. So just start by drawing the egg, head, just like the upside down egg. And for figure drawing, when we're drawing a stick figure like this, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. Let me make sure it's in focus. Sometimes we like to draw this T in the middle of the face, and this kind of would be in between the eyes. It's just showing where this figure, where this person is looking. And then we have a neck that comes down. You can just draw a line, or you can make it a little bit thicker. And then we have the rib cage. You can draw just kind of like a rounder shape, or you can draw it up like that. And I do think it's important to indicate, like, where is the front? Is this person looking that way? Are they looking straight at us? It seems like this is moved that way. So I'm just gonna draw this curve. Then we have shoulders that come out here. And we'll draw the arms after we draw in the rest of the figure with the legs. So we have our head. Basically, the three main shapes we're going to be drawing is the head, the torso, and then the pelvic area right here. So kind of like that pelvic bone that would be in there. So here is, we've got to connect it. Some people will draw like a heart shape. Some people just draw another circle, just indicating there's stuff in here. You can do whatever you want. But one thing that's important is we don't bring the legs now out of here. We actually have these hip joints here, and we bring the legs out of the side like that. Okay, and if we do kind of the proportions we had last time, remember, one head down is like the middle of the chest, the other head down would be like the belly button, the other head down would be where the legs are coming out of the torso, or the pelvic area right there. And so then we have another head is kind of like the above the knee. The other one is mid-calf, and then you have the feet at the bottom. And feel free to just stretch any of these things out. Okay, this is just a ballerina, I guess. It seems a little bit short. I feel like the feet should be down here more, but that's okay. So now the arms. So remember, the elbow is like right at that belly button, and then the forearm comes down to about where the legs come out, and then you have like the hands. Just these little, let's just call them bean hands. I don't know. That works for me. And they don't need to be as sketchy as mine are. They can just be like a simple, solid shape. I just wanted to kind of show you how the proportions work and this stick figure, because we're going to be doing some practices with this stick figure. And now let's draw one that's a little bit more geometric. So over here, we're just gonna draw one that's more geometric and boxy. So start by drawing the head. This one's kind of looking over at that one like, huh? And then the neck comes down, and then the geometric one, we actually are going to be drawing a box for the, like the torso, the ribs. And you can draw a 3D box if you want. Then it's going to come down, and then instead of drawing a circle, we're going to draw kind of like a triangle for this pelvic area. It looks like the bottom like of a swimming suit or something. And then the legs, we're just gonna keep the same because we're not putting much, but we do wanna bring them from the outside down. And what about the arms? Let's bring those in and we're gonna draw some circles. For this is like the shoulder. A line down. This is belly button, about in here. So 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Whatever. It's pretty close. And then we're just gonna draw more of like a bell-shaped hand for the geometric person. I hope I wasn't like covering all of that up. But these shapes can be helpful. And there's not a right or wrong way to do this. Some people will even, when they draw in this area right here, they'll make it look more like a rib cage. Or some people will just draw in a circle, and that's totally fine. You just need to indicate that there is something there. Because if you're trying to draw a figure, even if it's an illustration, and you ignore some of these things, it just looks so strange and it's hard to make it look realistic. So now let's practice using these and get them to move. But really quick, here would be a more dynamic type of rib cage. So you'd have like the head, straighten up here. This person's just looking that way. Doesn't want to be a part of this group. And then you have like the clavicle bone right here. And it's gonna come out these shoulders. And then the rib cage is just a little bit more, I don't know, like dynamic, I guess. So you can really, if you really want to understand the figure, you really need to study anatomy because it's important to know what's going on under the skin and under the clothes to know how the clothes would move or why they're moving the way that they are. So I would definitely recommend, more important than watching tutorials on stick figures and gesture drawing and all of this stuff, is really to study anatomy, study what's under there. Yeah, did I? No, and that's probably why I need to draw. That's probably why I don't draw my figures as well. I've studied part of it. I did have to sculpt a skeleton, a skull before I was able to sculpt a face, and I've had to draw skeletons, which is really helpful. I would do that if you want a little bit more practice with this. Okay, now let's use this stick figure and let's draw some stick figures that are moving. And what I really want you to focus on today is kind of the, let's see, the weight and where, let's see, what was I wrote this down so I wouldn't. Yes, where the center of gravity is. So there's a center of gravity so we don't fall over. And it's important in each of the drawings we're going to be doing to try to find it. Because yes, you will have homework today, and it's going to be drawing these stick figures in more of like a dynamic kind of pose. So I got my favorite newspaper today, and it came with the Wall Street Journal weekend edition magazine that they send once a month. And so I've just flagged some of these pictures because they always have a ton of fashion advertisements in here, which are great for figure drawing. So right on time, Wall Street Journal. So this is a Louis Vuitton ad. And let's just draw this guy. So let's use our stick figure thing that we just did, and let's draw him. So we're going to draw his head, this egg shape, and it's kind of looking up. So I'm kind of like pointing it towards the side. Oh, that's pretty small. Let's see if we can zoom in here. We'll draw the kite in just a second. I feel like I should draw him bigger just so you can see. Let me just switch papers and draw him just a little bit bigger so you can see it better. Okay, I'm like trying to draw it that size, but I probably need to draw him just a little bit bigger. Okay, so he's looking up. So you can go ahead and draw like the line of kind of where his eyes are. Looking up, then we've got his neck is coming out at an angle like this. He's moving up in this direction with his torso. So we need to make sure that this shape right here is kind of coming up at the top, and you can kind of do the and down like this. Much further down. I mean, really, it's even more of an angle. And his neck probably is just back a little bit, whatever, his chin. Okay, now let's go ahead and just draw. I'm gonna kind of indicate where the front of this is. Just drawing another curved line and X in here, and then here, and then his hips would be kind of doing the other thing, right? So they need to balance out this movement, and it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like this leg is straight and this leg has a little bit of a bend in it. So again, with that weight and just kind of making sure and then this hand, arm, let's just put in his shoulder kind of area. This one's coming down and then it's crossing back over in front. So it's actually coming down at an angle like this to his elbow and then crossing over his chest right here. So there's his hand, and I'm just thickening up my lines just so we can see him a little bit better. Then there's his elbow and it's just kind of coming straight up. And then you can draw on the kite if you want to. Okay, so I don't know if that's helpful, and I hope you can see this. I'm filming this one at night, so my lighting is a little bit different than I usually do. Let's try another one. Let's just do this together. This one's kind of fun. The girl running. Oh, I don't want that to fall off. Let's make sure this is in focus. Okay, so we can't really see what is happening under here, but we can definitely see she's turning this way, and we can see a little bit of what her legs are doing. This leg's further back, and we have a knee that's coming up right here because her foot's up, right? This foot is ending here, and this foot's up. So let's go ahead and draw her. Just let me get this so you can see her a little bit better. I'll try to draw this one bigger so you can see it better. Here's her head. And then her neck is kind of coming a little bit forward in that direction, and she is twisted. It looks like this shoulder, I kind of use lines of symmetry. I haven't really talked about that, but I kind of just use straight lines to figure out, like this shoulder is under that shoulder. So this one's taller, so she's kind of tilting like this in that direction, which means I can kind of put the front of this rib cage in that direction. But then it seems like she's twisting back forward here. I feel like they always need to just kind of like be opposite if you're moving, just so that you don't fall over. This might even be a little bit more over there. Okay, and then we have her legs that are going to be coming out. So this one is coming forward and back. And then this one is coming up about right here and back. And this is foreshortening. So if we were to draw this with shapes, it would look a lot more realistic because we could make them get smaller as they go away and stay the same as they come forward. But let's look at her arms. We'll talk about that later. This arm is tucked behind her, and we can just see her hand. And then this arm is just coming out at an angle and then crossing over and just holding the skirt right here. So you can kind of see this is setting up for, and then this is not proportionately right. Her head's pretty big for her body. But this is a really good practice, just to look and try to figure out what's going on underneath. And then let's do, I thought this one would be really fun. And we're gonna do these, maybe we'll do 4 or 3 of these tomorrow. So just bring my paper over here. Look how fun, how fun is that to draw? So fun. I'm gonna move that one on this side for once. So let's go ahead and draw him, since she's kind of cut off in the middle of the page here. All right, so let's draw him. So we're just going to draw, I'm just gonna start with his head, So just that bean shape, not bean, like that egg shape. And you can kind of put a chin in there if that's helpful. And then a neck. Oh, that's so small. I still need to draw bigger. Sorry. Let's do it again. You gotta make it big enough that you can at least, let's do that. There we go. Now I can make it a little bit bigger. So we'll start with his head. He is looking in that direction. His neck is coming in this direction. Now, this is where these shapes come in handy, because see, he is bending. So what is going on in there? Like, where would these shapes fit in? Because there's got to be a part, it can't be completely bent, right? Because of these shapes that are underneath. So we have the torso. And the front of it is about right there. And then we have the pelvic area. I'm just going to be doing like a bean for that. And then we have these legs. This leg's coming out really strong. Straight down. And then this leg is behind this leg, and it's coming down just behind it like that, moving in that direction. Now let's talk about these arms. So this would be where his arm's coming out. I'm just going to draw a circle. And it's crossing in front of his head, and then his hands are coming back in this direction. And then this arm is behind elbow, and then it's also coming in that direction. So hopefully this is helpful. I feel like these probably need to be a little bit closer, but it's still. Tomorrow we'll do gesture drawings of these same things. But I think this is good because I want you to do some stick figure drawings, dynamic stick figure drawings for your homework. So I hope that this has been helpful. This shoe's kind of like moving away actually, and this one's totally sideways. Okay. And this last one, I don't know if we can really see her. Let's see. Now we can see her well enough. This one I thought would be really fun. Sorry, I didn't mean to make such a long video. I don't know if this is even helpful for you to do this with me or if you can even see these very well. I hope you can. I just thought this was such a beautiful photograph and such a cool pose to try to draw because of this angle right here. And this dress is probably one of the prettiest dresses I've seen. So let's go ahead and start with her face, her head. So kind of looking up and forward. Pretty confident pose. And her neck. And then her torso, if you look at like I've just kind of put my pen here. So this part of my pen is touching her shoulder here, and this one is below it. So that's what I mean by like a line of, these lines of symmetry. And you can almost see, you can see where her ribs are right here. So it's bending in this direction, but totally facing us. And you would think that it would go up, but it's kind of squishing. It's getting squished right here. It is going up just a little bit, but okay. So still straight though, so we have this shape for the ribs. And then her hip is like way up here. Do you see that? So that means that this bottom area, this shape right here, is going to come up totally at an angle. And it's going to be like that triangle shape. Can even go up further. And then this leg is coming forward. I can't really see. It's almost like she's in a booth at a restaurant, just kind of leaning on in the windowsill. Okay, let's get these arms in. So here's her shoulder. This arm's coming in just a little bit and tucking in. and then her hand is coming towards us and it's off of the frame so we can't see it. Then this one is coming down at an angle. Her elbow's just like right above the highest part of her hip right here. Coming back towards her, and then her hand is just facing her face with a rose in it. So tomorrow we will do a gesture drawing of each one of these. But until then, what I really want you to do is practice this technique. So go home and go home. Oh man, shouldn't have said that. You are home. So you can find magazines, you can have somebody in your family do some cool poses. Honestly, I think it's cool to just like look at famous like historical photographs, things like that. Those are great places for inspiration, and of course like fashion magazines are full of figures. So that's one, yeah, it's a great place to find references for figure drawings. So this is going to be your homework for today. Draw 5 dynamic stick figures, like in magazines or whatever, or playing your favorite sport. So it's really fun to draw like people fencing or dancing. Ballerinas are just awesome to draw. And like soccer players, baseball, whatever you like, whatever you're into, go ahead and draw 5 stick figures, dynamic ones. So remember, they need to have like form. They need to have the rib cage, they need to have a pelvic form, and then they need to have a shape for their head. And I would use some of these lines, like this X that we used on the front of the face, just to show like what direction they're looking in, right? Because what if they're looking down? And what if they're looking right at us? Or, I don't know, it's helpful. Or they're looking up. And you can draw the shape of the head more accurately too. These just shouldn't take too much time. These aren't gesture drawings, so they're not like the really quick ones, but I like to start with this before the gesture drawings because I feel like it's helpful. Because when you're drawing so fast, it's helpful to know about these forms that are underneath. So thank you so much for drawing with me today. Good luck doing your homework. If you like this tutorial, please subscribe. Then you'll be notified when I post the next video, and it just makes it easier for you to get more of the content that I'm making. Also, if you press that bell notification, that's actually when you'll get notified if I produce new content, I think. So, thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow for gesture drawing.